You've been told detachment means becoming cold, that it means shutting your heart down, feeling less, caring less, needing less. But let's be honest, the people who don't care the loudest often suffer the most intense. So what if detachment was never about not loving? What if it was about loving without chains? Tonight, I'm going to guide you into a quieter, truer meaning of detachment through a series of small realizations that gently loosen the tight places in your mind. And here's the prediction gap. If you stay with me until the end, you'll feel something strange. Not excitement, not a rush, but a soft release. Like your shoulders finally remember how to drop. Like your breath finally stops negotiating with the future. Because the truth is, most of your exhaustion isn't from what happened. It's from what you're still gripping. And you might not even notice your grip. That's the tricky part. You don't hold on like a fist. You hold on like a habit. A quiet, constant tension you've mistaken for responsibility. So let's begin gently, not with letting go as a command, but with seeing what you're doing without judgment. Right now, notice your body, not in a complicated way. Just notice if there's any tightness. Jaw, shoulders, chest, belly. If you find it, you don't have to fix it. Just notice. That right there is already a kind of detachment. Not detaching from life, detaching from the need to control life in this exact second. Because detachment is not a wall. It's not, I don't care. It's not nothing matters. That's indifference. And indifference is usually a bruise pretending to be wisdom. Detachment is different. Detachment is the open hand. It's the ability to feel without being dragged, to love without grabbing, to try without choking yourself with outcome. Think of it like this. Indifference is when the heart closes. Detachment is when the heart stays open, but the chains fall off. Indifference says, your pain is not my problem. Detachment says, I see your pain. I am here, and I won't drown in it. That difference changes everything, because a lot of people don't actually want detachment. They want safety. They want a guarantee that they won't be disappointed again, so they armor up. They call it detachment, but it's not detachment, it's numbness. And numbness has a hidden cost. When you block pain, you also block joy. When you shut down grief, you also shut down tenderness. When you stop caring, you stop living. Detachment doesn't ask you to stop living. It asks you to stop strangling life with expectations. Now listen closely. This is where the mind usually argues. It says, but if I don't hold on, I'll lose everything. If I don't worry, something bad will happen. If I don't control it, it will fall apart. And it feels convincing. Because worry imitates love. Control imitates care. Gripping imitates devotion. But gripping is not devotion. It's fear wearing devotion's clothing. If you've ever loved someone and felt anxious at the same time, you know what I mean. You weren't anxious because you loved them. You were anxious because you were trying to make their presence permanent. And nothing in this world is permanent. That's not a threat. It's not a dark statement. It's the simple rhythm of reality. Breath comes in, breath goes out. Day becomes night, night becomes morning. Even the happiest moment you've ever had didn't stay. So the real question becomes, how do we love in a world that changes? How do we work, build, create, commit without being crushed by the fact that outcomes are not guaranteed? This is where Buddhist wisdom becomes practical, not as a religion, not as a performance, but as a way to unclench. Detachment starts with a simple shift. A shift so small you might miss it. You stop asking, how do I get life to do what I want? And you start asking, how do I live well? Even when life does what it does, that's the doorway. And the first thing you notice when you walk through it is this: you've been attaching your peace to results. A text message, a reply, a number, a milestone, a promotion, an apology, a sign. And when you attach your peace to results, you become a hostage, not because results are bad, but because results are unstable. They change, they delay, they arrive differently than you imagined. So you live in a state of not yet healed, not yet successful, not yet chosen, not yet safe, not yet enough. And the mind calls this motivation, but the body experiences it as tension. Now, here's a gentle truth. You can care deeply about what you do without chaining your worth to what happens next. This is the harmony between karma and detachment. Karma, in its plain meaning, is cause and effect. You plant seeds. Something grows, or doesn't, or grows later, or grows differently. But karma is not a cosmic vending machine. You don't insert effort and demand a prize. That's what attachment does. Attachment turns life into a contract. If I love enough, they must stay. If I work enough, I must win. If I'm kind, I must be repaid. And when life doesn't follow your contract, you don't just feel pain, you feel betrayal. Detachment dissolves the contract, not by making you passive, but by making you free. You still plant the seed, you still water it, you still show up, You still act with integrity, but you stop gripping the harvest like it's owed to you. And here's the strange paradox. When you stop squeezing outcomes, your actions become cleaner, more direct, more skillful, because your energy is no longer leaking into anxiety. Think of a musician. If they play while thinking, "Don't mess up, don't mess up," their hands stiffen, their breath tightens, they mess up. But if they play with presence, they flow. Detachment is presence. It's full contact with the moment, without the desperation that ruins the moment. Now let's go one layer deeper, because there's an attachment even sneakier than results. It's timing, not just what you want, but when you want it. And the mind gets obsessed with when. When will it happen? When will I feel better? When will they text? When will my life start? When will I be okay? And that question can become a chain, a silent chain. Because when contains an accusation. It says, life is late. I am behind. Something is wrong. But life is not late. Life is not on your calendar. A wound closes when it closes. A season changes when it changes. A seed sprouts when conditions are right. No amount of pacing makes spring arrive faster. So what happens if you detach from when not by giving up, but by loosening your jaw around time? You still move forward, but you stop punishing yourself with imaginary deadlines. Some of your stress is not from reality. It's from a timeline you invented and then believed. At this age, I should. By now, I must. If it hasn't happened yet, it never will. That's not wisdom. That's pressure. And pressure makes you chase, and chasing makes you blind. When you detach from, when you begin to notice now, not as a cliche, as a real place your nervous system can rest. Because now is the only time you can breathe, the only time you can choose, the only time you can live. The future is not a place, it's a thought, and thoughts can be heavy. So here's a quiet practice, just for the next few breaths. When your mind reaches forward, whisper inside, not now, not as rejection, as return, not now, now. And if you do this gently again and again, you'll notice something. You can plan without panicking. You can hope without choking. That's detachment. Now, let's talk about desire. Because some people think Buddhism means killing desire. But desire is not your enemy. Desire is information. It's a signal. It points to a longing, and beneath longing, there's usually an attachment. When you crave recognition, It might not be about applause. It might be about worth. When you crave control in a relationship, it might not be about power. It might be about fear of abandonment. When you crave success, it might not be about money. It might be about safety. So desire is like a lantern. It lights up the hidden parts of you that still believe I can't be okay unless. Detachment is not hating desire. Detachment is studying desire. You ask it a calm question. What are you really trying to give me? And when you ask that question honestly, you stop chasing the surface object. You start meeting the deeper need. And here's another prediction gap. When you meet the deeper need, the craving often softens by itself, not because you forced it, but because it was finally seen. Most cravings scream because they feel ignored. When you witness them, they relax. This is why repression never works. Repression is just grabbing the desire and shoving it into a basement. It grows there. It mutates there. Detachment is different. Detachment turns on the light. It says, "Come here. Let me see you." And the moment you see, you gain space. Now we arrive at one of the deepest attachments of all: identity. The voice that says, "This is me. This is who I am. This is what I am not." An identity can be built from anything: success, failure, pain, beauty, being the strong one, being the good one, being the spiritual one. And here is the subtle twist. The ego can even cling to letting go. It can say, "I am detached. I am evolved. I am above this." And the moment you need to be above something, you're still attached, because you're attached to the image. So detachment from identity is not becoming nobody. It's becoming flexible. It's realizing you are not a fixed statue. You are a moving river. Yesterday's version of you is already gone. Tomorrow's version hasn't arrived. So why cling to a label like it's permanent truth? When identity is tight, criticism feels like an attack. Failure feels like death. Change feels like betrayal. But when identity is loose, feedback becomes information. Mistakes become lessons. Change becomes natural, and you become lighter because you stop carrying the constant job of being someone. Now, if you're listening at night, this part matters because many people can't sleep, not because of what they did today, but because of who they think they must be tomorrow. The performance continues in the dark. Detachment says you can stop performing, even for yourself. You can just be. And the moment you allow yourself to just be, Your nervous system receives permission to rest. Now let's move into impermanence. Not as philosophy, as comfort. Impermanence means everything changes. Your mood changes. Your situation changes. Your body changes. Your life changes. The mind hears that and sometimes panics because the mind wants guarantees. But there is a hidden gift here. If everything changes, then pain changes too. The emotion that feels endless is not endless. The thought that feels permanent is not permanent, and even the you who feels stuck will not be the same you in a year. So when you're suffering, impermanence is not a cold truth. It's a hand on your shoulder. It whispers, "This will move. This will soften. This will pass." And when you're happy, impermanence makes happiness sacred. Because you stop taking it for granted. You stop demanding it lasts forever. You start tasting it fully while it's here. That's not depressing. That's alive. Now, we come to relationships. Because relationships are where attachment shows itself fastest. You can sit alone and think you're enlightened. Then someone doesn't reply, and suddenly, you're not enlightened. That's not failure. That's information. Relationships are mirrors. They show you where you still want control, where you still want certainty, where you still want to be chosen so you can feel worthy. And non-attachment in love doesn't mean loving less. It means loving without ownership. Ownership is subtle. It hides in words like mine, my partner, my friend, my child. These words are normal, but inside them, there's sometimes a dangerous belief that person belongs to me. No one belongs to you, not even the people you adore. People are not possessions. They are living beings in motion. So what is non-attachment in love? It is saying, I cherish you, and I respect your freedom. I love you, and I do not imprison you with my fear. It's the open hand. And yes, the open hand is vulnerable, because you can't guarantee they stay. But the clenched fist is also vulnerable. It just pretends it isn't. The clenched fist creates a different kind of suffering. It creates jealousy, suspicion, control, exhaustion. Love cannot breathe there. Love needs space, not distance. Space. The space to be human, to change, to have moods, to have seasons. When you detach from owning someone, you stop trying to freeze them in the version that feels safest to you. And here's the wild part. When you stop trying to freeze someone, they often come closer because they feel free. Now let's talk about suffering. Because detachment isn't truly tested when life is easy. It's tested when something breaks, when someone leaves, when the plan collapses, when the body aches, when the heart gets cut open. And this is where Buddhism offers one of its most practical insights. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is what the mind adds. Pain is the first arrow. Life shoots it. Suffering is the second arrow. You shoot it into yourself through resistance. Through this shouldn't be happening. Through why me? Through I can't handle this. Through this will never end. Detachment doesn't remove the first arrow. Detachment helps you stop firing the second. It teaches you to feel pain without adding a story that multiplies it. And if you've ever been through something hard, you know the moment when the fight finally stops. Not because you gave up, because you got tired of resisting reality. And in that moment, something soft opens. A strange calm. Not happiness, just space. That space is detachment. But now comes a twist that many people miss. Sometimes we don't just suffer. Sometimes we cling to suffering, not on purpose, not consciously, but because suffering can become identity. I am the one who was betrayed. I am the one who always loses. I am the one who never gets chosen. I am broken. And the mind repeats the story so many times, it starts to feel like truth. And then when peace arrives, it feels unfamiliar, almost suspicious, because peace doesn't match the old identity. So the mind sabotages. It replays the wound. It scrolls the memory. It returns to the pain like a home it hates, but knows. Detachment from suffering means this: you honor what happened without building a house inside it. You don't deny your pain. You simply stop wearing it as a name tag. Pain is real, but pain is not you. And when you stop being pain, you finally have room to be more. Now we move into something even softer than letting go. Letting be. Because sometimes the mind hears "let go" and starts trying too hard. It says, I must stop thinking. I must not feel anxious. I must release this now. And the forcing becomes another grip. So what if you didn't force release? What if you allowed experience to exist without feeding it? Anger arises. You let it be. You don't act it out. You don't suppress it. You just watch it. And like a wave, it peaks and fades. Grief arises. You let it be. You breathe with it. You don't rush it. And slowly, it changes shape. This is one of the quietest superpowers. To allow a feeling to exist without making it a life sentence. Letting be is detachment without violence, detachment without war. It is the art of not adding fuel. And if you can do that even a little, your mind begins to trust you. Because your mind learns, I can feel this, and I won't die. I can experience discomfort, and it will move. That trust is what helps you sleep. Now, another unexpected place detachment appears is in effort. Because some people think detachment means doing less, caring less, trying less. But true detachment is not lazy, it's clean. You give full effort, and you release ownership of the result. You commit to the process without gripping the destination. That's the middle way. Too much effort becomes desperation. Too little becomes stagnation. Desperation has a certain smell. It smells like I must have this to be okay. And life can feel that. People can feel that. Even your own body can feel that. Calm effort feels different. It says, I'll do my part, and I can still breathe. It's steady, not frantic, not collapsed. This kind of effort is sustainable, and sustainability is underrated. Many people don't fail because they aren't talented. They fail because they burn out. Detachment prevents burnout because it keeps your worth separate from your output. Now, we arrive at money, wealth, possessions. This is a big attachment for humans. Some chase money like it's oxygen. Some reject money like it's poison. Both extremes are chains. The middle path is simple. Let money be a tool, not a god, not a devil. You can own things without being owned by them. Because real poverty isn't always having less. Real poverty is needing more to feel okay. And real wealth isn't always having more. Real wealth is being able to breathe even if you lose what you have. That doesn't mean you become careless. It means you stop tying your identity to your bank account. You stop measuring your human worth in numbers. Now, one of the heaviest attachments of all is resentment. Because resentment feels justified. It says, they hurt me, they owe me, they should apologize. Justice must happen. And sometimes you're right. They did hurt you. It was unfair. It was wrong. But here's the painful truth. Many people never apologize. Many people never understand. Many people never make it right. So if your peace depends on their apology, you've placed your freedom in their hands. Detachment takes it back. It doesn't mean what happened was okay. It means you refuse to keep bleeding for what happened. Forgiveness is not approval. Forgiveness is release. Release from the need to replay it. Release from waiting for the past to change. Release from holding poison as proof you were wronged. You can remember the lesson. You can keep boundaries. You can walk away and still not carry the chain. That is strength. And detachment is strength. It takes strength to stop controlling, strength to stop gripping, strength to stop demanding guarantees. Because the ego loves guarantees. It loves certainty. But life doesn't work that way. So detachment is courage. Courage to live without guarantee. Courage to love without ownership. Courage to try without promise. Courage to be present while everything changes. Now let's soften even more. Because if you're listening tonight, you don't need a lecture. You need a feeling. So here's a quiet image. Imagine holding something precious. A small bird. Warm, alive. If you squeeze it, you harm it. If you drop it, you lose it. So you hold it gently, with open palms, with breath, with care. That is detachment, not coldness, not distance, gentleness. Now, before we end, I want to leave you with a simple practice you can use in real life. When you notice yourself gripping mentally, emotionally, physically, pause. Ask, am I attached to outcome? Am I attached to timing? Am I attached to identity? Am I trying to own what cannot be owned? And then quietly say, open hand. Not as magic, as reminder. Open hand, open breath, open heart. And if you want right now, just once, try relaxing your forehead. Let the tongue rest. Let the shoulders melt a millimeter. You don't need to fix your whole life tonight. You only need to stop fighting this moment, because peace is not a trophy at the end of self-improvement. Peace is the absence of unnecessary grip. Now here's the final gentle twist. Sometimes what's meant for you doesn't come faster when you chase it. Sometimes it comes when you stop squeezing the world and start walking with it. Not because you manifested it, but because you stopped repelling it with desperation. Life often meets you when you soften. So tonight, soften. If you're still awake, leave a comment later. Tell me which part of detachment you struggle with most. Is it outcomes, timing, identity, forgiveness? And if you want more calm teachings like this, you know what to do. Subscribe. Stay close, not with chains, with presence. Because in the next video, we're going to explore something even deeper than detachment. What happens when you stop clinging and you realize the one who clings is not as solid as you thought? And that's where the real quiet begins.